for sale sign on almost every door of agencies and departments.
Yes.
Where these corporations dominate and they put their appointments in high office.
Yes. See, Ralph, it's funny, he seems to be making a lot of sense. He was on Meet the Press this morning with Tim Russert, and I kept watching, and I guess I follow this sort of thing for a living, don't I? Because the first thing I thought was, a vote for Nader is a vote for Bush. Because all he can do, running as an independent, he doesn't even say he's going to run on the Green Party. Running as an independent, first off, he has to get on the ballot in all 50 states. Can he do that? And secondly, what's he going to do besides play spoiler? That's essentially what he would do. He'd be like Ross Perot. You know, Ross Perot got Clinton elected, essentially. Took away votes from Bush the Elder. Not that I'm thrilled with Bush the Younger. And I feel badly for him. He had to put his dog down. That's always a sad day. But I just don't see as Ralph Nader, I mean, like I said, he's got some good ideas.
It means that corporations are saying no to the necessities of the American people. They're saying no to health insurance for everyone, no to tax reform, no to health and safety standards, no to stopping corporate welfare in the hundreds of billions, no to straightening out the defense budget, which is bloated and redundant.
Well, he makes points. He probably wouldn't be a terrible president. The problem is, would you vote for Ralph Nader? I mean, I know people that just vote straight Democrat. My mother's one of them. Well, she doesn't know who she's going to vote for. I talked to her today. I says, Ma, what? You're going to vote for the one with the D next to their name. You always do. My only problem with that was that, see, Nader has some good points about it doesn't matter which party you vote for.
Somehow, it's okay to have a two-party duopoly that is converging more and more, where the towering similarities dwarf the dwindling real differences that the Democrats are willing to fight over.
He's absolutely right. Oh, toll-free 888-723-WTAM. He's absolutely correct. The difference between the parties has dwindled. And that's probably why it doesn't matter who you vote for. They're already in somebody's pocket.
Basically, it's a question between both parties flunking, one with a D-, the Republicans, one with a D+, the Democrats, and it's time to change the equation and bring millions of American people into the political arena.
See, it sounds like it makes sense, doesn't it? We can get millions of people out there that just are unhappy with both parties, and they're going to vote for Ralph. So mostly these people, seeing as Ralph is against big business, and so are essentially, I mean, I think that a lot of people in this country who vote straight D think that the parties are the way they used to be, where there was a big difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. And the Republicans are all for big business and giving tax breaks to the rich, and the Democrats are all there to help the little guy. The Democrats are not there to help the little guy. The Democrats and the Republicans are both in bed with big business.
There's just too much power and wealth in too few hands, increasingly giant corporation hands who have no allegiance to our country or our communities other than to control them or to abandon them.
And he needs money, too.
This is going to be difficult. We're asking for volunteers to log into our website, votenader.org. We're asking for contributions.
They want money.
After careful thought and my desire to retire our supremely selected president, I've decided to run as an independent candidate for president.
Well, good luck to you. A vote for Nader is a vote for Bush. Unfortunately, that's just the way it turns out. I voted for Bush the last go-around. I was wrong. I was mistaken. This little adventure in Iraq that's going to cost us how much money and how many lives? I was wrong, and I'm willing to admit it. Would I vote for Ralph Nader if I thought it would really make a difference? You bet. Do I like John Kerry? No. Would I vote for him? I don't know. See, that's the problem. There's people out there, you may be like me, where I go, P.U., I don't like either one of them, so I'll vote for Ralph Nader. Just because, I mean, obviously, I spoke to someone and they said, gee, isn't he kind of a radical? I said, gee, wasn't Thomas Jefferson kind of a radical? Now, Ralph Nader's a strange bird, you know that. He walks everywhere, he doesn't own a car. I don't think he ever did own a car. When he was getting GM in trouble back in the 60s over the Corvair being unsafe, he would be dropped off by a taxi cab 2-3 blocks from his house because he was certain he was being followed by the hitmen from General Motors that were going to take him out. Maybe he was. I don't know. Now, people that think, well, he owns 2 suits and they're both black and he's got those brown shoes, and you know what Frank Zappa always said, brown shoes don't make it. He's worth millions of dollars. He knew how to play the stock market. He's not a dumb guy. And he doesn't blow his money. He blows other people's money. He wants to blow your money.
This is going to be difficult. We're asking for volunteers to log into our website, votenader.org. We're asking for contributions.
Norm Ezzy, you're on the air.
Rick.
Do you have something important?
Welcome back. I always got something important. Rest easy with Ralph Nader. Bush is the king. Dick Cheney's the prime minister. We just switched our war on terrorism for oil, more than you know. Bush is now going to be looking at the strategic petroleum reserves in America to lower the fuel prices at the pumps. You know, and I admire you and what you've done in the last year. And bear with me now. Because the people that pull, like you said, with the D's and the R's, you've got the global ruling elite that are tied into the multinational corporations, and then you've got the downtrodden that pull the switch at the D's. And I'm probably going to throw you off the stool here, but Trevisano made a bold statement that people should be tested at the polling booths when they vote. Now, I'm going to say this to your listening audience because these people have been dumbed down so bad that they expect the worst government that they can vote for. They don't try to improve themselves. So consequently, what I've just told you about Bush and Dick Cheney, they are invincible. This Senator John Kerry, he wrote a book called The New War, written in 1997, published by Simon & Schuster. If anybody went out there and actually read the book, you would swear that it was none other than George Bush and Dick Cheney that authored the book. So, I mean, this is a real good charade, and the American people deserve what they get. Now, when I tried to run as an independent in the city of Cleveland, just to give you an example, here in the 10th District, 5,626 voters you need to sign up to get on the ballot, okay, as an independent. You know how many people actually vote in the 10th District? Less than 16%. Rick, they deserve Dennis Kucinich. Again, you're to be applauded. Even Trevisano's starting to really hit hard is to be applauded. But the people do not have the intellectual capacity, the brain power, the thought process to understand that we are underwriting our own demise. You heard Ralph Nader just now on your little soundbite say, we need money, we need donations. For what? How much and for how longer can these politicians lie to the American people? And the American people, give you an example, in China, and you're going to love with Mary Jane Campbell, $1.3 billion they put in their infrastructures for high-speed trains, rail transportation, communication, farming equipment, and look at America. Look at America. Look at Cleveland. Look at Cleveland. We got a dysfunctional family in the city of Cleveland, and guess what? We put up with it. We constantly put up with it. But, Rick, you need to get a hold of me because I got something that I cannot convey to you on the air. I tried to email you, so I got something wrong with my website, by the way. But I'm trying to email you this evening, and if I get a go-ahead, you can read it on the air, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, buddy, listen, you and Trevisano should be on the air together tonight for the election. You hear me? Because I want to tell you something else. These people deserve everything that they're going to get in 2004 here in Cleveland with Dennis Kucinich.
Well, I believe you're right.
Believe me, I'll tell you what, pal. If I see people in public, I'm like the Rain Man in the checkout line. I swear to you, I can't take the stupidity. I swear to you, my friend.
All right, Norm.
Give me a call when you can.
All right, I will. Norm Ezzy from We the People. And it's very frustrating to sit here week after week after week. It's very frustrating to listen to, the two Tims. I was watching Dick Fagler, Tim McCormick and Tim Hagen. What's the difference between them? They even sit there and agree. Well, everything's in the toilet. Harumph, what do we do about it? I mean, do you think a vote for John Kerry is going to make everything sunshine and lollipops? Do you think a vote for Ralph Nader is going to do anything but get George Bush reelected? Do you think the Democrats really want to win this go-round, or are they trying to push off and wait for 2008 when they run Hillary? There's a scary thought. President Clinton. The lady President Clinton. That's a frightening thought, isn't it? Bob, you're on the air.
Yeah, I want to say you are the thinking man's friend. And I agree pretty much with everything you said. I just got a couple quick things to say. Your wonderful guest, Norm Mazzi, who just called in, several months ago on your show, he was saying that he vows to run against Dennis Kucinich. Well, how about it, Norm? I mean, you don't want to blow hot air and say, I'm running against Kucinich. Yeah, when? Okay, enough of that. But going on, the Plain Dealer a couple days ago had an amazingly honest story for the Plain Dealer, in which their Washington bureau chief wrote that Senator John Kerry has the record of getting the most lobbyist big business money of all the senators in the U.S. Senate, and he's done quite a few specific favors for them. These big corporate donors that give him big money. So John Kerry's probably more sold out than your typical politician, and he's a big phony.
Well, all he's done since Vietnam has been a politician.
I mean, the Democrats are bad, they're corrupt, and the Republicans are even worse. And it's not like Nader's against big business. He's against big business bribing our politicians. I mean, they call it campaign donations, but it comes down to legalized bribery. And see, if every dummy in the United States, Norm is totally right, the American public is stupid, because when they voted for Gore, they were voting for a political hack. They should have voted for Nader. If someone says, I don't know what Ralph Nader stands for, read some of his books or whatever. He's been around for years. That's how stupid the American public is when they don't even know what Ralph Nader stands for. You look at his website, you see what he stands for. Now, at least this guy's honest, he's intelligent, he wants to do stuff for the public. If you look at what the Bush administration has been doing on the budget, they're cutting back on vital spending for people's urgent needs in this country and giving corporate welfare and spending like a couple $100 billion on this Iraq thing so Halliburton, Dick Cheney's old company, can get big contracts there. I mean, the whole thing's a scam, and because Bush is so sold out to big business, he can get all these donations to buy all these TV ads and radio ads and dupe the American public into voting for him. That's how Nixon and Agnew got elected, because the American public's so stupid, they voted for them. And whoever's got the most money can buy the most advertising to fool the most people, and the American public is too stupid to know the difference.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. People are just stupid. I had a list somewhere in my bag of tricks that I'd made, and I probably threw it out since it was rather timely, and of course, the mic goes on and the mind goes blank. Yeah, it's not in here. Because it was about President's Day, and, which one of your... And just rating the presidents like Nixon. One of the biggest swine in our lifetime. But the Democrats aren't what the Democrats used to be. The party's changed. I don't think the Republicans have changed that much. They pretty much always stood for what they stand for. And they'll dupe you into voting for them, and then there's a war. Not all the time, not written in stone, but it seems like they were planning this war from the first day they took office. Gotta get that war going over there somehow. 9/11 was perfect. And going to Afghanistan was a great idea. I know, talk radio. Say it again, and then say it again. And then repeat yourself and say it again. Going to Afghanistan was a fine idea. Where's the tall, bearded one dragging the dialysis machine? Where does he plug that in? The same place he plugs in his video camera? We can't find him, but then we have to jump into Iraq. No, it's got nothing to do with oil. Pish-posh. And the parties are so closely related because they're all in bed with big business that it doesn't much matter who you vote for. Although, I think a vote for Nader is a vote for Bush. Just keep that in mind. Maybe I just had to have that campaign slogan, anyone but Bush. But gee, if it's true that Kerry's as much in bed with big business as Bush, then what's going to change other than the names? They have to put a new name on that plaque on the desk at 1600 Pennsylvania. But if it's still business as usual, triple Doppler forecast from TV3 meteorologist Betsy Kling tonight. Upper 20s, currently 35 degrees in Cleveland, 35. I thought it felt more like 25, but then maybe I'm a freeze baby. Listen to the beginning tomorrow for your chance to win a 16-foot Monarch King fishing boat. How about that? With a 40-horse Merc outboard motor and trailer, it's totally equipped to fish. Now, there's a hell of a prize, huh? Just listen for your cue to call to win tickets to the Cleveland Sport Travel and Outdoor Show and qualify for the grand prize courtesy of Vic's Sports Center in Kent. Big one boat giveaway on the station with the big rods, baby. Us News Radio, WTAM 1100. Hey, AJ.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, doing a program.
You know what? I'm so tired of everybody thinking that Bush is over there for the oil. I sure as hell wish he was over there for the oil. I wish he'd fund this war with the oil. But he's not touching the oil. You know, I don't understand these people. They keep saying Halliburton and Cheney and all. You know, Cheney's a relic. The guy is, he's a great guy. He's a very strong man. People don't understand the guy. But, you know, guys like him, Rumsfeld and Chick Ashcroft, those guys, they know who killed Kennedy, man. Those are tough, important guys, and they're feared. And we have to look in this country at who does Al-Qaeda want to be president? They don't want Bush to be president because they're afraid of him. They want Kerry to be president because he's weak. He's going to pull the troops out of Iraq. He's going to make it look weak. People don't seem to understand in this country that we need to have a strong foothold in the Middle East.
Did John Kerry say he was going to pull the troops out of Iraq?
He sure doesn't like them. They like the fact that they're there.
Neither do I. But you cannot pull the troops out once they're there. Otherwise, all the soldiers that died for nothing.
I understand that, and that's what most of the Democratic Party wants to do.
If these people... Let me tell you, I'm not a politician. You know that, right?
Yes.
I'm a talk radio host. I'm smart enough to know that Saddam Hussein was an evil bastard who could keep those people in check, and that otherwise they're running amok over there. Now, if I'm not the smartest person in the world, I mean, I'm not running for president. Don't you think the president and the vice president and Cheney and Ashcroft and all them should be smart enough if they know who killed Kennedy to see what would happen if we went in over there?
Well, you
think we took a chance just to give democracy to the world? It's our gift to the world, democracy.
I understand, but we need to be stabilized over there, because if we're not stabilized over there, I mean, he was funding terrorists. There's no doubt about it. The Al-Qaeda's on the run. They are on the run. We're going to get Osama bin Laden sooner or later. The guy just has a lot of good cover. That's all.
Yeah, he's probably in Pakistan.
Well, wherever he is, we're going to get him. We got Saddam. We found him in a hole. We'll find Osama bin Laden. Don't worry.
Yeah, you know, well, and that's another argument, too, is, well, was Saddam Hussein funding terrorists? Well, if we went over there and looked around and said, look at these guys marching around in Iraqi uniforms, they're terrorists. Well, of course, they're enemies of us, so that makes them terrorists. That doesn't make them Al-Qaeda.
Well, you know, people keep saying that all Republicans are warmongers and everything else. You know, the last 3 wars we had, and not including the Gulf War and this war, the World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War, were all under Democratic rule.
Partially. I mean, you have to look at Vietnam and Nixon, who was, again, a complete swine. World War I and World War II were a little bit different, though. I mean, World War II was the last war that we won.
We're gonna win this one, too.
Well, Godspeed. And thanks for checking in, Tiger. I hope you're right. I hope we don't have to lose another 500 and almost 600 soldiers in Iraq to try and get the job done. I don't know what the heck that has to do with Ralph Nader, but a vote for Nader is a vote for Bush, and it doesn't matter much how depressing. It doesn't much matter who we vote for, does it? Pete, you're on the air.
Yeah, how's it going tonight there?
I
was just tuning in because I dropped off my son, and, you know, this whole Nader thing, actually, wanted to say something about that last caller. I agree with you. We had to stay in Iraq because now we have to. There's too many lives that have been lost. not to substantiate their losses, but this whole Nader thing, how many times do the people have to pick up the clue that whoever vote for him, it's a total vote for Bush, which in my opinion is a great thing. And Nader isn't going to do anything again but just dance around for the next 6 months and not provide the people with anything but a bunch of sarcastic and pointless ideas that, sound good on paper, but when you look at the mass population of 285 million people, you're just not going to sell it. It isn't going to be sold.
Isn't it amazing that the only politicians that are electable are the ones that are in big business's pocket and they're so deeply entrenched? And
why does big business have to be the persecution of the people that? I don't understand. This nation was founded on the idea that you could come over and start, and a lot of people, I'm an educator, believe that meritocracy and the Horatio Alger idea is lost in America. Well, guess what? It isn't lost. People can pick themselves up from their bootstraps and start out with nothing and become something. And it doesn't necessarily have to be measured in a monetary sense.
Maybe Jefferson had a point.
It can be measured in the fact that they wake up every day and are happy to be alive with their health and are successful. Everybody wants to jump down the throat of big business. Big business has helped a lot of people in the world, whether it's right daily with a paycheck or with the taxes that they have to pay every day or every quarter, and it's helped supply the infrastructure. Big business, in my opinion, is not the problem in the United States. It's the massive spending and the massive amount of governmental institutions that think that they can cure it for the entire population. And it's not. It's one-on-one help towards your fellow man. And as I gotta run.
That sounded almost religious in nature, didn't it? I was trying to say maybe Jefferson was right when he said a revolution every 20 years. Maybe he had a point. A revolution every 20 years. All we've got in these politicians, they're all just career politicians. It's the same thing over and over. Do you really think it matters if you vote for John Kerry? Do you really think that's going to make a difference? By the time anybody gets above dog catcher, they're in somebody's pocket. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend. More of the program after these important words, and we do a little business with you and coverage of what in the world's happening on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Rick Gilmour.
I don't care what color you are. Dumb is dumb. That's just dumb.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
Well, that's a ludicrous question. I'll get those results for you momentarily from our cyber boat. Would you rather win the Mega Millions or find a cure for cancer? I would think if you had a cure for cancer, you'd be worth Mega Millions. Wouldn't you? No, I want to be evil. I want $230 million and everybody can go die. I don't know about that. I don't know about Ralph Nader either. Gee, and is this Tuesday, Fat Tuesday? Already, I heard Cliff talking about rowdy Mardi Gras revelers. I like the alliteration. So, I'm just curious. Did Ralph Nader decide to run all on his own? Did he decide, or is he really in somebody's pocket too? And Bush said, please, 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 run so we can split the vote. Quick, split the vote. Well, at least we know we're not going to end up with President Schwarzenegger. We'll see how that pans out, his opposition to gay marriage. Gee, I wonder if he would have come out. Was he as strongly opposed to gay marriage when he was running for governor? There are an awful lot of gay people out there, you know. You know, if you put all the gay people on the Golden Gate Bridge and they waved their arms, it'd fly away. So they command a lot of the vote. The only problem I had with gay marriage was the idea that, everything that we do, we make laws and then we got to pay for stuff. Where are we going to get the money from? our cyber vote at WTAM.com. 65% of you say you would rather cure cancer, but there are 35% of you out there who say, give me money and you can all go die. Die. Michael, you're on the air.
Hey there, Billy. I'm going to do the dumb thing and vote for John Kerry because I'm a Democrat.
So you're one of them.
That's right.
You're one of them. You just get in there and pull the lever. D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D.
Yeah.
Well, you could be one of them pirate types. The thing is, Cuyahoga County has been D for so long. Everybody on council, including the mayor, they're all D. That's the grade they get for their job performance, too. D.
Yeah, but one thing, Gilly.
Yeah.
You know, you ever heard of McKinley? You know, he got into office.
President McKinley?
Mark Hanna. He was a big man in his day. And he was a rich guy, and McKinley got him because of him. I mean, Republicans got in the back pocket of big business ever since, or before.
Wow, okay, well, hey. There's a little history lesson for you, I think. I don't think anybody much cares about McKinley. Although he's got a darn fine mountain. I'll give him that. Harold.
Hey.
You're on the air.
What's happening?
Hey,
I don't think this guy, what's his face?
Ralph Nader?
Yeah, he's not going to make a difference. Didn't he get about 2% of the vote the last time?
Well, the thing is that if he does garner support, it's not going to do anything but just push the election over for Bush.
Well, listen.
I'm fairly certain that, you know, even if he got 5% of the vote.
Well, here's got a point that people fail to really realize is that what state that the Democrats can possibly win, it only takes one state for them to gain the presidency. And that one state is somewhere in the southeast. Maybe it's Tennessee, maybe it's Arkansas, because Bush won all those southern states. And he's got most of those southern states now. And I think the one state that the Democrats may gain is South Carolina, if this guy Edwards is the nominee. Outside that, they're nothing.
Well, I was just thinking about Florida.
Florida's all Bush territory.
I hope wow. I always suspected that. I hope the election this go-round is as exciting as it was the last time, because if nothing else, it gave me something to talk about for months.
Well, I don't think Nader is going to do anything. One thing about gay marriage here, I think Schwarzenegger's just trying to uphold the rule of law. You can't go outside of the law and say that we're going to marry gays when the states surely say that you may not.
Yeah, and that San Francisco is planning on issuing more same-sex marriage licenses tomorrow.
Well, I think it may come a time that the mayor there, Schwarzenegger, may not have any other opportunity but to arrest the mayor. That's the only thing he can do to change this thing. Otherwise, the mayor is clearly defying the law. I thought we were supposed to obey the law in this country.
Well, the law is meant to be broken, apparently, and they're trying to change the law.
Well, normally when you break it, don't they throw you in jail?
Well, the president broke the law, and they didn't impeach him yet.
Which one?
For the illegal, unjust war that we declared in Iraq by stopping it.
Well, how's it unjust?
Because it's a sovereign nation that did not attack us.
Yeah, but
that's the law, the rule of war.
They were a host country for known terrorist operations.
Oh, God. Then we're going everywhere in the whole world, Harold. Think about it. Nader said that today, too. He said if anybody should be impeached, it should be the president. Anybody that's guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors is clearly George Bush, and I've said it for a long time. Oh, no, it's not a war because the fighting was over within 60 days. Well, tell it to the people that are fighting and dying over there every day that it's not a war in Iraq. We stomped into a sovereign nation that had not attacked one of our friendly neighbors of theirs. They didn't go into Kuwait this go-round. We did not have a coalition of countries from around the world. We had a handful of people that were coerced into helping us, just like we coerced Canada into giving us cheap fuel there for a while because we got our oil from Canada because under NAFTA and all that. We own the mineral rights to Mexico and Canada. And we said, okay, Canada. Oh, Canada, you don't want to help us out? And give us some cheap oil so we can get through this thing. Speaking of that, what's the excuse lately? Gas goes from $1.52 to $1.73. Now, some gas stations, it's still $1.52. And down here, where I get off on the highway, it's $1.71. Well, they figure people that live out here have more money. People in my neighborhood don't have a lot of money, and it's $1.64. Out in North Olmsted, I think there was a Speedway that was $1.50 something. I don't know. You know, you ever notice when they open these new gas stations, they close down the old Speedway out there on Lorraine by Brook Park Road, and they put up one of them brand new ones that sells the lottery and beer, and, you know, it looks like a Sheetz. Watch your mouth there, Rick, you're on the radio. No, Sheetz, the gas station. They put these brand new fancy gas stations up, and then for some reason they can get gasoline cheaper than anybody else because they're selling gas for 15 cents a gallon cheaper than they're selling it out here. Isn't that all from the same oil, or don't it all come from the same trucks? Or, but they put up them new gas stations, and I guess they want to get all your business. So they dump gas. Maybe they're losing money on every gallon, but they make it up on volume. Or some nonsensical thing like that. Ted.
Yes, I am in agreement with you. Kerry's not going to make a difference. He's committed to staying in Iraq. So, you know, what's the big deal about this election? It doesn't seem to amount to anything, as far as I can tell.
Ted, hang on a sec, would you? I'll put you on hold and come back to you. Because I do know the answer to this one here. Don, it says up there on the big board, you want to know if I know the difference between Democrats and Republicans?
Yes. Do you know that difference?
Yes. Republicans step out of the shower to urinate.
No. The Republicans want to help the poor and needy. The Democrats are the poor and needy.
That's an interesting thought. Okay, back to you, Ted.
Yeah, and another thing about...
I thought my definition was better.
Well, have you been looking into this, the 9/11 thing? I think Bush used this massively to his advantage.
No, really?
Yes.
Something called the Hegelian dialect?
Yeah, well, that's a way of terming it. Create the problem and then provide the solution.
That's right.
But, it's fascinating on the 9/11 thing, the 9/11 Commission. Why is it that these terrorists on the watch list could come in and out of the country pretty much freely when Bush had received multiple warnings from Egypt and Russia and Germany and many governments that something big was coming down with regard to terrorists hijacking airplanes and using them as weapons?
Even Clinton had warnings.
Yeah, but these are real specific warnings for September that Bush got in August, yet no efforts were made by Bush to step up security at airports. No efforts were made at all. And then when the planes were hijacked, it took over 30 minutes for jets to be scrambled to intercept these planes, which is a complete violation of normal procedure that the jets would go up automatically as soon as these planes went off course. I mean, isn't it fairly obvious that 9/11 was either staged by the government or the government simply allowed these terrorists to go ahead and do what they wanted to do as a means of using 9/11 and the terrorist attack to launch this war on terror, to attack, the one caller was saying that there were terrorists in Iraq. You know, the State Department says there's terrorists in 76 nations, so I guess we're going to have to invade 76 nations around the globe. Now, how in the hell are we going to do that when we're bogged down in Iraq? And how much is that going to cost? And aren't we going to have to bring back the draft for that?
One would think, and I don't think the president actually sits around and wonders or cares how much anything costs.
Well, I mean,
it's going to be our grandchildren are going to be the people that are paying this mess off.
You know, I was reading the other day, 1/3 of the bridges in America will have to be replaced in the next 10 years. They've outlived their lives, but there's not enough money to repair these bridges. Yet we have tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to spend in Iraq. Now, when are the American people going to wake up and realize that this is preposterous, that it's asinine? I mean, you talk about terrorism, and like your last caller said, we got to go get the terrorists. Well, the terrorists are all over the place. I mean, there are 76 countries that they're in. I mean, we cannot go and invade 76 countries. It will bankrupt this country. we will become like a third world nation. We don't have anywhere near those resources.
Well, we'll go get chummy again with the UN.
Well, the UN, they don't even want to go into Iraq.
I know that.
And then John Kerry says, "Oh well, we'll internationalize it. We'll get the Russians and the Germans and the French. The Russians and the Germans and the French, they're not going to devote one iota of effort to helping us there because they want us to fail. Because once we get kicked out of Iraq, then they're going to go in there and they're going to get all the oil contracts."
I said last week on this program, I was reading a wire story from Hans Blix, who said if we just would have waited, there were no weapons of mass destruction, and we were accomplishing what we were trying to do, and maybe he was playing funny over there, hiding stuff or trying to let him in the front door and run out the back door or something like that. Nobody ever said the guy was the smartest knife in the drawer. But they didn't find anything, and he said, well, if we would have just been patient, they wouldn't have found anything. And
now, you see, Bush is saying we couldn't be patient. Now he's saying we must be patient to keep looking for these weapons of mass destruction.
Well, sure, yeah. Now it's been how long?
Which everybody with any intelligence except the average conservative Republican knows they weren't there, okay?
Next year will be 1 month, you realize that?
Yeah.
Next month, I should say, would be 1 year, yeah.
And the whole thing is so preposterous. Now they're ginning up the new threat from Iran and Syria. And, these people will go along with it again. And, I love that. Well, the weapons of mass destruction aren't in Iraq. Maybe they're in Syria now. Maybe they moved them to Syria. So we'll invade Syria, and then when we can't find them there, they'll say, oh, well, maybe they were moved to somewhere else, and we'll have to go invade there, too.
Well, that's the idea.
Right.
I mean, the idea is just say there's somewhere and, look at the approval ratings for the president. You see things dropping and people becoming less patient with this little adventure, our exercise in foreign policy, if we have one.
And, you're right. And Kerry, if he gets elected, I don't think anything's going to change at all. I mean, this election is pointless. There is no point to this election. And if you look at the gas prices now, I mean, let's say you have the whole situation in Iraq collapse, and there's a civil war there, and there's no oil being pumped out of Iraq at all. Can you imagine what's going to happen to the gas prices in this country?
I want to know why there's already something happening with the gas prices. What's the explanation for it jumping up 21 cents in one day?
I don't know. I think maybe when the economy is recovering now across the world to an extent, people probably are using more gas and more oil. So the demand is going up for that. And as you know, because you've been to Norm Izzy's site, we're running down on oil resources. So when demand, even if you get a slight uptick in demand for oil, you're going to see massive price increases.
I mean, just imagine what this country is going to be like if gas all of a sudden goes up to $2.50 a gallon.
Yeah, and here's another nightmare possibility. If the whole Middle East becomes very upset with the situation in Iraq, there's a civil war, and then there's a revolt in Saudi Arabia, and the Saudi Arabian government falls to Islamic extremists, and the oil supplies are interrupted for a period of months from Iraq and Saudi Arabia and maybe Kuwait, you're talking $4 or $5, $6 a gallon gas. Easy.
Time to break out the bicycle. Ted, I got to run.
Sure.
Pedal power. You start riding around. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand, though. I mean, do these gas stations all get together online and they're all, I mean, every little mom and pop, every gas station, everywhere, all went up almost 20 cents a gallon and overnight? Did the gas that they already still have in the underground tanks that was already delivered, did that price go up? Maybe with the next go-round when they fill their tanks. What about, give me some of the old gas. I'll take that old stuff. I'm fine with the $1.59 a gallon stuff. I don't need that fresh stuff at $1.72. Tomorrow morning on the big one, Indians catchers and pitchers are on the job. Boy, it's getting to be that time of year, ain't it? You're going to hear from pitching coach Carl Willis, ABC's Steve Roberts on the latest on Vote 2004. I'm sure he'll be talking about Ralph Nader as well. Qualify to win in the big one's boat giveaway. Wake up informed, would you? Don't be a dum-dum. Weekdays 5 until 9 here on Wells and Coleman in the morning on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Greg.
Hey, how you doing, Gilly?
All right.
Well, you don't have to look too far to see what politicians think of us. Look at what Lady Jane Campbell did with her State of the City this past week.
Oh, the plain dealer was right. It was a pep talk.
Well, this lady has to be as dumb as a rock. If she thinks that we're going to buy what she was saying or trying to sell, putting homes on the lake 6 years from now, just starting to build them 6 years from now, and this is a leader. This is somebody that you want to lead the city and get the city to recuperate from this depression we've been in.
I know, it's pretty. I watched it and I thought, geez. Like you said, I mean, how dumb does she think we are?
And then she's trying to prop up Barbara Bird Bennett. Have you seen one brand new school building being built?
No.
Out of that $500 million that the city of Cleveland voted for?
No, but they put new windows in Tremont School.
Oh, wow. Well, this is just why isn't there an outcry? Why aren't the news stations investigating this?
Well, for one thing, Ladybug Jane Campbell has tried to put the kibosh on City Hall talking to anybody about anything.
Well,
I happen to have inside poop from people that are in there that were trying to get information out, and when she said it was going to be a more open administration, it's gotten even more tight-lipped.
This is ridiculous. You can get the budget on the web, and I think it would be a good idea if maybe you can do this. Is to get the budget for this year and have some accountants come in, see if they can volunteer their time and tell you where this money is going to. And they have to provide that information. It's public information.
Well, and like I've said before, why is it that we have 21 council people that are all making almost $70,000 a year each, and they all have their little cronies underneath them, when the population of the city is apparently going down to the point where we can afford to lay off policemen and firefighters because their excuse would be, the per capita police and firefighters in other cities is nowhere near as high as ours.
Gilly.
But then we need fewer council people, too.
Right. Gilly, you could cut down the council people down to 10 for the city of Cleveland.
Cut them down to 7.
Well, that would save almost $1 million in salary alone. I mean, there's places where you can cut and still maintain, the services.
Really? Want to adopt a garbage can?
Right.
I mean, these ideas they come up with are like, what? Huh?
Well, that's what they think of us. That's what they think of the populace. They think that you're dumb. You're dumber than a rock.
Well, I don't think I don't think the mayor's the smartest person I've ever heard.
She is.
But she did inherit a mess from Boss White, too.
No, wait a minute. Let's not make excuses. Now,
I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying let's be fair.
Gilly, I can tell you what. I would talk to Six Flags, and I would talk to a company that owns Cedar Point, and I'd try to get another amusement park down on that lake and put it by where Burke Lakefront is now. I would build that new aquarium that they've been talking about for, 10, 15 years?
It sounds
down there. And then you start thinking about a convention center, because you have nothing to draw people to Cleveland right now. And that lakefront could be fantastic.
That was the one good thing I heard out of Tim McCormick and Tim Hagan, was that they said, they were both in agreement that perhaps a casino would be necessary to try and fix our problems.
Well, that would be perfect down there in the flats. It's dead down there.
Who's been saying that for how long? Me and Trevisano have been saying that for how long?
Well, you know what? If we could think of these ideas, Gilly, I mean, why can't the mayor come up with some original ideas? And let's get our congressmen and our representatives to start getting some money in here.
Because a thought
instead of sitting on their butts.
A thought could sail from one ear to the other through that woman's head.
What? The whole city infrastructure needs to be redone too. So, I mean, let's get some of that road repair money from the federal government and start getting it in here.
Well,
but, I mean, these are ideas. I don't hear anything like that from the mayor. She's planning 6 years down the road. I mean,
yeah, I know. Well, it was, and I got to run. It was all rhetoric and beans, baloney, and BS, poppycock, poopy stinkers, and bull malarkey. Well, why do you suppose they call her, or I call her, Ladybug Jane Campbell, the queen of the flying hubcap? Think about it. And that nice little speech that she gave that went on forever, you could tell that a lot of the people that were sitting out in the audience really wanted to keep clinking away with can she just let me finish lunch? I kept waiting for people to doze off. For God's sake, she went on forever. Bill, you're on the air.
Hey, Gilly, how's it hanging?
All right.
Listen, I'm a libertarian myself, so I am sort of sympathetic to some of the stuff that Nader has to say about how, there really aren't any differences between Democrats and Republicans anymore, and how they rig the system to suit themselves. They don't want to let anybody else in on the party and all the rest of that. So, while I'm not a Nader supporter by any stretch of the imagination, I do understand some of the stuff that he's saying.
Oh, I thought some of the stuff made sense. You know what I mean? I listened to him, and I thought, well, it makes sense to me.
Now, on the other hand, if I were a Democrat, I used to be one back in the day, as they say, but, if I were still a Democrat, I would be royally ticked. Because, after all, you can make a pretty good case that Nader did indeed cost Gore the election last time around because of all the votes he got in Florida and because it was so close down there.
Yep.
Now, of course, if Gore had been halfway competent and run a decent campaign, he might have been able to overcome that, but still.
Well, there's a big but.
After careful thought and my desire to retire our supremely selected president, I've decided to run as an independent candidate for president.
That's a big but. Everybody's got a big but. Let's talk about your big but. More of the program after these important words and coverage of what in the world's happening. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend, and this is Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
I believe that's Mr. Gilmour.
Is that Gilmour again?
Guy's got a lot of intensity.
The following material may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Harumph. Be here until 10 o'clock when you'll get the Drudge Report live on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Phone number here, 578-1100 in the classic 216 area code. Open Phones America for this hour. Any direction you want to go. You want to talk about Ralph Nader? You want to talk about gay marriage? You want to talk about, I don't know, whatever.
The Rick Gilmour Show on News Radio WTAM 1100.
I'm looking through the wire service and everything's Ralph Nader all the time.
After careful thought and my desire to retire our supremely selected president, I've decided to run as an independent candidate for president.
And all you're going to do is take votes away from the Democrats, probably, and you're not going to win. And do you think that it's a shoo-in that Bush is going to win no matter what? I think it's just already a done deal. Couldn't the Democrats come up with somebody a little more, I don't know, presidential? Hey, John Kerry, why the long face? 578-1100 in the classic 216 area code, toll free, 888-723 WTAM. Tom, you're on the air.
Hi, Rick. I want to talk about the brain drain.
In Cleveland or
Yes.
in general?
In general, Rick.
Okay.
Hey, Rick, I understand that you were offered a wonderful position out in Seattle or Portland.
They'd discussed Portland, and I said flatly that I didn't want to move.
Do you think this has to do with the brain drain in Cleveland? Because I think you're a talented guy, Rick, and you declined this. And I think when it comes to the brain drain in Cleveland, you are a person that declined it. You may be onto something, Rick.
Well, here's the way I looked at it, and I'm probably the only talk show host on a major radio station in this town, because I don't know if I count the other ones as a big station, but I actually moved into the city of Cleveland. I don't live in a suburb, so I felt that qualified me to be able to sit and complain about the city government, because it's not like I'm sitting out in, some suburb somewhere.
But, Rick, you're a talented guy. There's no question about it, Rick. You were offered a position out in the great Pacific Northwest, and you declined it.
So your point is, I don't understand exactly.
My point is, Mayor Jane Campbell talks about Cleveland is losing talented people. And Rick Gilmour is a person that we're not losing.
Oh, well, I think maybe what she meant was there are a lot of people that, say, go to Case. And then when they graduate, they're like, I ain't staying in Cleveland.
But, Rick, do you regret not going out to the Pacific Northwest and staying in Cleveland?
No.
You don't think you could have done better out in the Pacific Northwest?
You have to make some decisions in life. You have to make sometimes with your heart and your head. You have to say, well, I know I probably could have gone out there and had a 5-day-a-week gig, blah, 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 but all my friends and family are here, and some things are more important than, I hate to say it, that sounds like a fib, but some things are more important than money.
So, Rick, you sound like a Clevelander that doesn't want to go out...
No, I don't want to leave, and I don't want to see the city die. The city's dying. It really is.
But I understand that, Rick. And Rick, you want to, you want to prevent the Cleveland from dying. And Rick got a wonderful opportunity. You got a wonderful opportunity to go out to the Pacific Northwest, and you declined it. Rick Gilmour, I think you're a wonderful example for Clevelanders to stay in Cleveland. I think Rick Gilmour should contact Mayor Campbell and say Rick Gilmour is a wonderful example of a Clevelander that's talented. He wants to stay here in Cleveland. He's got opportunity here in Cleveland, and he's not going anywhere. And I think, Rick, you should tell Mayor Jane Campbell that you're not going anywhere because you're a talented Clevelander and you're staying put.
I think you just did. All right.
Well, Rick,
I'm fairly certain in this town, Tom, that if she didn't hear that, somebody else will tell her.
Well, Rick, I think you got a wonderful opportunity to go to the head of the story. I think, Rick, you're staying put in Cleveland. Cleveland is not dying, and Rick Gilmour's an example of this, Rick, and I think you should...
All right. We're spinning our wheels here. You said it 4 times now. It was complimentary, so I let you say it a couple of times, but after time number 4, yeah, I know. I'm staying... Does it ever cross my mind? What if? Does it ever cross my mind? What if I would have taken the job in Tampa? Or Grand Rapids? Or... who knows? What if? I have people tell me, Rick, you got to get out of Cleveland. You want to be on the air in Phoenix or Vegas. There's people out Scottsdale. There's people out there with money. There's no money here. Well, I think it's nationwide right now that there's no money. There's a lot of places, I think, that are hurting. I mean, if you watch TV, what do you see on TV during the commercials? 3 things. Cell phones, fast food, and cars and trucks. And listen to the radio and what's being advertised. Cell phones, fast food, and cars and trucks. These companies have a lot of money to throw around even when times are tough. Keep an eye on that sometime. Tell me if I'm mistaken. But those are the 3 things that I always see. Yeah, I mean, does it cross my mind, the what if? Well, certainly, I wouldn't be human. Gee, what if? Well, what if I'd left and failed miserably? Then I could come back here and deliver pizzas. Tim, you're on the air.
Hey, Rick, how's it going?
All right.
I don't know. I've been kind of sitting here, and you and I have talked briefly about the fact that I used to live pretty much all over the country.
Right, you were a military guy, right?
Well, not only that, but I've worked for other companies and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, be that as it may, if you have to sit down and think about this, and you have to say, outside of family, I mean, what makes Cleveland unique?
Well,
what makes it special? What makes it different than, say, a Detroit or an Indianapolis or a Chicago? We don't have a light rail system. Don't have really good public transportation.
We
need a car to get everywhere in this town.
We have a nice metro parks.
Yeah, well, doesn't New York City? Doesn't Chicago?
Well,
San Francisco?
New York City's got Central Park.
Yeah.
You mean you're asking me the question, aside from friends and family, Rick, why didn't you get the hell out of here?
Well, I'm asking this to anybody, really. I mean, outside of your friends and family, what reason would you have to stay in Cleveland? I mean, let's look at this in a very critical manner.
Well, the lake's nice, but they've got a lake in Chicago.
Exactly.
I mean,
the whole ocean in New York City.
I mean, Indianapolis, I don't know about that. In New York City, Cleveland, I think part of the definition might be that it's a big, small town.
It's got pretty much a small town mentality in a lot of ways.
I mean, we do have an NFL team, which a lot of towns don't. We do have Major League Baseball.
Well, name me one major city that doesn't have an NFL team or a pro sports team in general. Even Salt Lake City has a pro sports team.
Yeah, well, I'll open it up to the callers then, because to me, I was born here. And I've never lived anywhere else for any length of time. And let me ask you the question then, why did you come back?
I came back for family. That was the only reason to come back here. And once my family ties are severed here, I mean, I have to look at the situation and say, well, why stay?
I also
There's
have
a massive restructuring going on right now. There has been for the last 40 years. And I just have to sit here and go, well, what makes this town special? What makes it unique? I mean,
I look at this and it sounds corny, but it's almost a responsibility that the town that I was born and raised in deserves to have some decent radio. Maybe that's why Trevisano stays. Maybe that's why a lot of people stay, because, I've been to other cities and I've listened to crappy radio, and I think, well, one fewer person in Cleveland doing something, and it is a rather unique job. I mean, and I also have this idea that people that chase money around the country in radio are nuts.
Well, let me ask you this question. Now, granted, you're kind of an anomaly in the sense of you do have a unique job, but what would you say to some kid graduating from Case or John Carroll or Baldwin Wallace? They've got their degree in business. They've got their degree in communications, marketing, management, whatever, history, English. I don't care. What incentive can you give them to stay in Cleveland?
Well, if
21, 22-year-old.
If they could find a good job here, the cost of living is relatively cheap in Cleveland.
Well, that's a big if sometimes.
And if they enjoy the city, the people here are fairly friendly. I know my way all around the city. I thought about that. I thought, well, gee, what if I moved to Portland and there's a big fire on some street? I don't even know where the heck it is. I don't feel at 42 as if it's time for me to relearn a whole other area unless I'm retiring there.
So what you're saying is, correct me if I'm mistaken, if you're over 40, you're pretty much stuck here?
No, I'm saying that, as I said before about the responsibility of, there should be some people in every town that are qualified broadcasters that would be able to sit and talk to you in case there's an emergency and know what the hell they're talking about. It's mentor, not mentor. That sort of thing.
Or Ashtabula instead of Ashtabula?
Yeah, there should be some people, or Medina.
Yeah.
No, it's Medina, lady.
Lima instead of Lima.
There should be in every town, there should be somebody sitting there that they can go, well, this guy knows about, if somebody called from Olmsted Falls and said, I live over by the gazebo, I'd say, oh, that's right by Water Street and 252, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Elm's up there right around the curve. I don't live out there. I know the area.
Well, you've heard of broadcasters who do remotes, and they may be at a studio in, say, Chicago, but they'll be working the radio and they'll be taking calls from, say, California.
Right.
Chula Vista or Santa Rita. Does it really bear any relationship to the job they're doing?
They're pretty much stuck doing national topics.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? They're not going to talk about, like I said, the mayor of Chula Vista got shot or something horrible like that. Now, they don't even know the mayor's name, and neither do I.
Uh-huh.
Now you have to have somebody feeding you all kinds of information so you don't sound like a big dum-dum.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's easier for me to stay here than to go someplace else and sound like a big dum-dum. I can sound like a big dum-dum here, and people all love me because I was born and raised in Cleveland, so it's okay if you say something stupid once in a while. They'll forgive you.
So they'll cut you some slack.
They forgave John Lanigan for going to Florida and coming back. They never let him forget it, but they forgave him, and he's not even a native Clevelander. He's from Nebraska or someplace.
Well, I can see why someone wouldn't want to stay in Nebraska.
Yeah. I mean, Nebraska's part of that flyover land.
Pretty much, yeah.
Of course, then again, if you live in New York or L.A., we're flyover land, too.
Well...
Tim, I got to go.
Take care.
All right. It's a good question. It's a viable question. Why do you want to stay here in Cleveland? I mean... Really, I think that the cost of living is not that high. You want to get a nice house. There's even places in the inner city where you can get a very nice brand new home. Tremont's turning around. Now, I don't know about the houses over on Chester that are brand new, but I mean, if the area turns around, somebody's got to decide to stay here. Maybe it's some kind of a collective effort. There are a lot of people who decide to stay here. And I think a lot of it has to do with tradition. There's all kinds of ethnic neighborhoods in Cleveland where you can go. I mean, I imagine that you can do the same thing in New York. New York, to me, sounds like a nice place to visit, and I wouldn't want to live there. Tomorrow morning, listen for your chance to win starting tomorrow. You might win a 16-foot Monarch King fishing boat with a 40-horse Mercury outboard motor. And you can putt up and down the Cuyahoga and go out and go fishing there. And it's got a trailer and everything. It's all ready to go fishing. Listen for your cue to call to win tickets to the Cleveland Sports Travel and Outdoor Show and qualify for the grand prize courtesy of Vic's Sports Center in Kent. Big One's boat giveaway on the station with the big rods, Us News Radio, WTAM 1100, your triple Doppler forecast from TV3 meteorologist Betsy Kling, a lovely woman. Tonight, cloudy, upper 20s. Tomorrow, chance of rain or maybe some snow by evening, upper 30s. Then Tuesday, mid-30s. Is that Fat Tuesday? Is that coming up already? I think it is. Now, I'm going to a big party. Currently 34 degrees in Cleveland, 34. Let me look up on the big board here. What's going on with the weather? Cleveland government, difference between suburbs and other cities. Iraqi mess. Cleveland versus... this is interesting. Dennis.
Yes?
Says up here on the big board something about the difference between Cleveland and Lorain.
Well, what I'm looking at is the comment earlier about Cleveland being a dying city. I've lived all over the county all my life since 1950, and the center of my universe is still Cleveland. But I now live in Lorain, and I now see what can happen when a city truly dies.
Yeah, Lorain's not good.
Lorain is definitely not good. Now, is Cleveland a dying city? Do I see that possibility in my mind from what I remember of Cleveland?
Well, maybe we're atrophied a bit.
Yeah, just a tad, because, I mean, there was a huge comeback which made my heart warm back in the 70s and the 80s, and we got some national attention, and we needed it. Made me feel good about being in Cleveland again. I mean, like I say, the center of my universe has always been Cleveland, and the memories that Cleveland brought me. I've been listening, you talk about broadcasting, I've been listening to Cleveland broadcasting talk radio almost since its inception with WERE back in the 70s, and how it's evolved and how it's kept this city alive. I mean, it's my best source of information about where I live. And even though I'm in Lorain now, unfortunately what I'm seeing there is what I'm afraid could happen in Cleveland if things continue the way they're going at this point. Because the jobs are leaving, the factories are leaving. This is a manufacturing economy.
Right, I mean, I was thinking about Akron. What would happen to Akron when Goodyear leaves?
You're going to have a great big hole in the city of Akron. I've driven through there, and it doesn't look good now.
What would happen in Lorain if Ford left?
They're in the process of doing so.
I know.
And the sad part of it is that the economy in Lorain now is 2 notches below anything that I've lived in Garfield Heights, Maple Heights, Lakewood, Cleveland, Eastlake, Willowit. And now I'm in Lorain, and I'm thinking to myself, why are they boarding up the downtown? Why does nobody live there? Why is there nobody making any money? Why is everybody driving into Cleveland?
Well, and it's a spiral effect, too. You know, just a little, like I say, I'll bring up Akron again. Okay. Oh, you cut out on me there. Got in a bad cell. I was thinking about radio in other towns. And I thought, well, the way you support a radio station is with advertisers, right? You got to have advertising dollars. Well, then how are you going to make any money doing radio in Akron? Who's the advertisers down there? Fast food, cell phones, cars and trucks. It's just like a certain frog station on TV. All they do is promo themselves between every show. You might see a commercial once in a while. And if I see a commercial one more time with that guy from the furniture store downtown that talks like Don Corleone, I'm going to poke my eyes out. Drives me nuts. Mike.
Hey, Rick. How you doing?
All right. Thanks for waiting.
All right. Hey, first off, you really ought to change the name of your show to the Don Quixote Show, and you should start off with the theme from The Impossible Dream.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, come on, Cleveland. Allow me a little indulgence before I tell you why gas will never reach 250. You know, you're talking about Cleveland dying. It's dead. It went past the tipping point, okay? Detroit's a perfect example. It's just never coming back.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I was driving in tonight, and it warmed the cockles of my heart. And if you've ever had your cockles warmed...
many times by many ladies.
The candle was burning at LTV, or whatever they call IMG now, or whatever it is. You know, whatever it's called. But anyway, I thought, you know, it's kind of nice to see that, although I know that there's thousands of people that are not down there at work that would have been 10 years ago.
My brother being one of them. Also, the second point is that, you know, the point of Cleveland is, I just want to bring up quick, you know, all the money they pump it into the school system, and remember the empowerment zone money that was supposed to create jobs? That went down a rat hole. Unfortunately, you have to face it. You know, Cleveland is not coming back. Okay.
And the politics there are very dirty, and everybody's getting greased.
Well, you made a point earlier. Cuyahoga County and Cleveland's all been run by Democrats. It's a Democrat job machine. They want to keep everything down because the only way they can keep getting back in office. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you about the gasoline. They've reached $2.50 a gallon. Just think, there's only so much discretionary income a person has, especially in this area, okay? And you've got a lot of people that are extremely dependent upon the government check. And so what you're going to find out is that when the gas prices started going up the first time, remember after the second week of the month, you saw fewer and fewer cars on the road. And as prices go up, you're going to see fewer and fewer of those cars from the people who are dependent on the government handout, if you will, Social Security and all the rest of it. So eventually it's going to reach a point where they can't afford the gas. The supply is going to stay stable, and it's got to start dropping again. So $1.95, I think, is you're pretty much going to see topping out. And it's just going to keep coming back because people just can't buy it, which means that they're going to start drowning in it. They're just testing the market right now to see how much folks will be able to take.
Don't you think it's interesting that when the price of, I don't know, pick anything. If the price of groceries seems to be down this week, the price of gas is up. If the price of gas comes down, the price of natural gas is up. It seems, it's just a way of keeping everybody under the thumb of they're all the prices seem like they're being regulated so that you have to earn a certain amount of money, but you never get ahead. You never squirrel away anything. You're just getting by.
That unfortunately is true, but there again, it's what are the people willing to pay? Hey, there again, with gasoline, with gasoline prices go up, you still see people doing, 70, 80, 90 on the freeway going in. It's like, okay, right, you're getting a real lot of good mileage that way.
Yep, absolutely. I see it all the time. Why is it when we went to war with Iraq, did you ever hear the president say maybe you ought to turn your thermostat down or cut back on your driving? Did you ever hear that? I never heard a word this go around. Funny, isn't it? More of the program, more of your phone calls after these important words and coverage of what in the world's happening. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend, and this is Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Chosen one.
LeBron brought the A game.
Lays on the big one.
LeBron into the lane for the right side. Whips it up. LeBron backing in on it. Spins baseline. Fires. LeBron 20 feet away. Oh, he blocked by LeBron. Down to LeBron. Into the air. Finger rolls it up and in. I love it when he does that. LeBron drives on Grant. Flips it up in and foul. LeBron right side. 20 feet away. Switches it the last two. Right in the face of Kobe Bryant.
Your Cavaliers mothership.
The LeBron James beat continues.
WTAM 1100.
More appliances in stock. H.H. Gregg, family owned since 1955.
Pick up some NyQuil today. The nighttime sniffing, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, best sleep you ever got with a cold medicine. NyQuil.
Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, is proud to be your official Rolex jeweler. Why just wear a watch when you can wear a crafted work of art? A Rolex from Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Jared has an outstanding collection of the most popular Rolex styles, from the rugged Submariner to the Lady Datejust. Rolex timepieces are crafted in platinum, 18-karat gold, stainless steel, or a combination of stainless steel and 18-karat gold. Giving an elegant timepiece is the perfect way to tell someone special just how you feel. Give a gift of rare distinction, a Rolex timepiece. It's a gift of lasting quality, beauty, and style. A year in the making, a Rolex timepiece will be treasured for a lifetime. Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. We're proud to be your official Rolex jeweler. Jared offers Rolex timepieces exclusively at their locations in Akron, on Howe Avenue of Route 8, and on West Market at Montrose Center. Also in Canton across from Belden Village Mall.
Wills and Coleman in the morning. All the news, weather, traffic, and sports you need to start your day.
Here on News Radio, WTAM
1100. Continuing coverage on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100, a service of Clear Channel Worldwide.
California's governor says if you want to change the law, go to court. Good evening. I'm Cliff Bakley. This is the 9:30 report on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Details coming up. Channel 3 triple Doppler weather. Here's meteorologist Betsy Kling.
Mostly cloudy tonight. Temperatures dropping into the upper 20s.
Currently 34 degrees at your official weather station. News Radio, WTAM 1100. If you don't like the law, California's governor says you need to go to court to challenge it. You just can't violate it. That's how Arnold Schwarzenegger sees the gay marriage issue in San Francisco. But that city's mayor had a different view on CNN's late edition.
I wanted to put a human face on it. I mean, we're dealing with people's lives here.
Newsom says he's not breaking the law. He's simply upholding California's Constitution and its guarantee of equal protection. Schwarzenegger says if San Francisco's mayor can hand out same-sex marriage licenses in violation of state law, there's nothing to stop another city from handing out assault weapon licenses or drug-selling licenses. Both John Kerry and John Edwards have been looking for support today in black churches in states where Super Tuesday primaries will take place. Edwards visited a church in Columbus, while Kerry was greeted warmly at the Atlanta church where Martin Luther King Jr. once preached. On NBC's Meet the Press, Ralph Nader announced he'll run as an independent. That didn't faze Republican National Chairman Ed Gillespie.
If Ralph Nader runs, President Bush is going to be reelected, and if Ralph Nader doesn't run, President Bush is going to be reelected.
Gillespie was on CBS's Face the Nation. The families of some soldiers from Eastern Ohio celebrating this week after being reunited with their loved ones after more than a year. About 135 soldiers from the 99th Regional Readiness Command's 459th Engineers Company of Bridgeport, West Virginia, and Detachment 1 of Bel Air, Ohio, returned home after serving in Iraq. LeBron scored 22 points in his first game at Madison Square Garden, helping the Cavaliers to a 92-86 win over the Knicks. Z led the Cavs with 31 points and 15 rebounds. I'm Cliff Bakley on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the top of the hour. Breaking news as it happens. News Radio WTAM 1100.
It's Bill Wills for Select Comfort. February, and of course, it's the month of love with Valentine's Day and all. It's the time for couples. But sometimes couples don't agree on the firmness of a bed. That's why there's a Select Comfort. A Select Comfort Sleep Number bed using air chamber technology to adjust to your body. Not your bed partners, to your body, to the exact firmness that you like. No more springs or metal coil mattresses to worry about. 9 out of 10 couples disagree on the firmness of a mattress. That's why Select Comforts come along. Long after the flowers and the chocolate are gone, you can still be sleeping better with a Sleep Number bed by Select Comfort. My number is about 65. If you like a firm mattress, you'll have a higher number. You like a soft mattress, you'll have a lower number. But with a Sleep Number bed, you and your bed partner can have different numbers. Stop by a Select Comfort store. You can take a compatibility quiz this month and find out how you and your partner really get along. It's fun. The Sleep Number bed by Select Comfort. See one at South Park Center, Great Lakes Mall, Great Northern Mall, and Beechwood Place. Select Comfort.
Am I sweating?
What?
I am so excited. I met my knight in shining armor.
You went up to Cupid.com like I've been telling you to. Way to go.
No, my Aunt Lucille has set me up on a blind date. She says he's, quote, nice, end quote.
Nice? That's it?
Yes, nice.
What does he look like? What does he do?
No idea.
See, that's why I recommended Cupid.com. There's pictures, profiles, and registration is free.
I don't want to just date. I want to mate.
Again, Cupid.com. Thousands of people looking for the same thing you are. Local guys with joie de vivre.
He's here.
Your knight in shining armor has arrived.
Look what his horse is doing.
Ew.
Stop it, Lightning. I should never have fed him tacos for lunch.
Could you lift your face shield so I can see what you look like?
Oh, sure. Ta-da!
You know what?
Debbie moved. Bye.
Don't be stupid. Go to Cupid.com,
that is.
Now you can check out your Cupid connection on the phone at 888-99-CUPID for just 99 cents a minute. That's 888-99-CUPID.
Get a double the difference price guarantee. H.H. Gray. Family owned since 1955.
For centuries, the battle between man and fish has raged. In rivers, lakes, and oceans, we have fought for the control of the water. Now the big one is prepared to arm you with the ultimate weapon to fight this war, the fishing boat. A brand new Monarch King 160 SC, complete with trailer and fishing gear. Get qualified to win by scoring tickets to the Cleveland Sports Travel and Outdoor Show, March 13th through the 21st at the IX Center. From Big Sports Center in Kent, Ohio. And the big one that didn't get away. News Radio WTAM 1100.
His name is Gilly.
That's it.
Cheesy chili.
Like a hot dog.
Talk show silly.
That's me.
He's on the AM dial.
Amplitude modulation.
He looks a little like Steve Buscemi.
I didn't think so.
His callers have all leaky belly.
Rick Gilmour on News Radio WTAM 1100.
He's on Saturday and Sunday night. Well, Gilly's on the air and you know everything's all right.
That was my late friend, Dan Mr. Negative Gianguzzo, from years ago. It's a damn fine question. Why do you stay in Cleveland? Someone in the complex mentioned that. They go, well, that other guy said Cleveland's dead. Well, then why is that caller still here? What is he, an undertaker? Jack, you're on the air.
Hey, Rick, how's it going?
All right.
Hey, you know, I really don't know where these people get off, you know, bad-mouthing Cleveland like the way they do. I used to do Habitat for Humanity and build houses and stuff, and I can tell you, I mean, it doesn't matter where you go. You know, Cleveland's not, you know, Cleveland ranks, in my opinion, you know, probably one of the better cities as far as, you know, large cities.
Well, you know, what northern city would you move to that would be any different? Milwaukee? Pittsburgh? Detroit? Philadelphia? I don't know. I mean, you know, was it any different in all those other places?
Well, you know, New York City is in my opinion, is just really dirty. You know, it's just the city, you know, is just really grimy. And, you know, L.A., you know, it's got a lot of smog. And Philadelphia, actually, there's areas in Philadelphia where I was at where, I mean, the sidewalks were just littered, I mean, with crack vials. I mean, you would not believe, I mean, the amount of drug use in some of these, you know, areas of some of these large cities that...
Well, all you got to do is watch any episode of Cops. And you can tell that there's bad areas everywhere.
That's true, you know, but, you know, Cleveland, you know, isn't really, you know, Cleveland's not as bad as people say it is. You know, the problem, you know, the biggest problem with Cleveland is, I think, is cosmetic. You know, it's you know, more cosmetic, you know, it's Cleveland's got a lot of eyesores. You know, you drive, you know, through Cleveland and you just see a lot of boarded up houses, and I don't understand why.
Or how about the flats?
Yeah, well, you know...
I mean, it seems to me they could do something with it besides what they're doing with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, you know, but, I mean, you know, there's a lot of, you know, buildings and whatnot that I'm sure that they could start building, you know, tearing down and whatnot, but, you know...
To me, there's one shining spot in the flats, and that's Tower City Amphitheater. Other than that, I never go down there for anything.
Neither do I, really. But, you know, I mean, Cleveland is a city that, you know, I'm proud of, and you know, environmentally, you know, I feel safe. You know, I don't have to worry about earthquakes and, you know, crazy things like that. So. Well,
it's true. You don't hear, there's not too many floods.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an earthquake once in a great while. We get tornadoes.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, at least for that, you know, you just got to, you know, hit the dirt, you know.
If you were going to move someplace else, where would you go?
In the United States?
Yeah, I don't know, just pick a state. You don't have to pick a city.
Oh, probably either Georgia or New York State.
See, I was thinking if I won the lottery, you know, if I had two homes, the option of being, you know, instead of I'm a member of the second homeless now, I only have one home. If I had two homes, the other one would be in North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful down there, and not too cold, and not too hot, and not too buggy. And I don't like Florida. And it's too hot, and there's too many bugs, and I don't like reaching for something and having a chameleon running around, and you know, I'm just kind of a northern city boy. So.
Well, the reason why I say Georgia is because I once met a Southern Belle down in Georgia. Well, she was from Georgia, but I mean, unbelievable. I mean, she was unbelievable. I mean, just, you know, her whole, you know, attitude as far as was completely different than, you know, girls up here, you know, as far as hospitality goes. It was unbelievable.
Well, you know what they say. A northern girl says you can. A southern girl says y'all can. Bill.
Hello.
Howdy.
How you doing, Ray?
Just great.
Where are we up to?
Go ahead. It's your turn.
All right. You know, do you think the money's shifting to the lakefront?
What do you mean by that?
Well, Jacobs sold out, and I know he can't hold the stadium. And he's put his all money on the lakefront. That's what Mayor Campbell's doing.
Well, I think that, maybe the notion that we need to redevelop the lakefront. In fact, speaking of Trevisano, I was listening to one of his programs one day where he said, Burke Lakefront ought to be a parking lot. And you can park there and take shuttle buses to a casino. I mean, I was thinking about it, and I thought, you know, another good reason to stay in Cleveland. Well, I've not gotten drunk in every bar in town yet. No, but I thought about the Rock Hall of Fame. Have you been there? How long has that thing been there now? 10 years? I've never been there. And an aquarium is not on the top of my list either. If they had a casino, would I go? You bet your ass I would. Would I be careful to only take as much money? Well, what if you're going to Greektown? Now your money's going out of state. What if you're going to Windsor? Now your money's going out of the country. If they had a casino on the lakefront, don't you think you'd go? Just for the nightlife and wander around, and maybe there's some nice-looking women down there or whatever? You know, that'd be a place to be. Instead of going to the warehouse district and getting sloppy drunk and peeing on your shoes. Nobody goes to the flats anymore unless they're buying ecstasy. So think about it. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Don't you think that if Lorraine, given half the chance, don't you think the Spitzers wanted a casino out there? And don't you think they got the dough to build one? And don't you think that the state wouldn't let them? Well, they don't want to fight the lottery. That's another thing, these mega millions where somebody wins $230 million. I'd like 230 people to win $1 million each. Don't you think that would do more to stimulate the economy than having one person sit back and go, I don't know if I want to spend all this. It has to last me forever. I think a normal person, if they had $1 million, it was a financial guy from the radio once that said, take away a millionaire's money and in a year he'll have $1 million. Give a poor person $1 million and in a year they'll be broke. Because there's stuff you gotta buy, man, right? Christ, I could drop 200 grand on my house. Just fixing it. It's only 134. So, 230 people winning $1 million each sounds like a better idea to me. Joe.
How you doing?
Good.
Hey, the earlier caller had pointed out that what's unique about Cleveland. And I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in D.C., I've lived in Atlanta, Columbus, Cincinnati. I think he's mixing up the difference between a tourist city or a destination city as opposed to another city. For example, Cleveland can't compete with a San Francisco or New York, or Los Angeles. But I think you pointed out earlier, what's so unique about Pittsburgh or Indianapolis or Columbus or Detroit or Cincinnati or Louisville or Memphis or Charlotte or Atlanta for that matter? Because I tell you what, when you hit a certain age and you go out and you buy your house and you have kids, where are the majority of people, where are they going to move to in any city?
The suburbs.
Exactly. And the suburbs, I tell you, and you've traveled around, are probably identical in every city you go to.
Yep.
Same builders, same houses, same cul-de-sacs, same cappuccino, same convenience stores.
Yep.
So then where are you going to live? You're going to live near friends and family. It comes down to the same thing all the time. And I think that's, that's where we made our choice to move back to Cleveland, to be near friends and family, because we could live in any suburb anywhere. What's the big deal? Better shopping or something? Who cares? But to me, I think it comes down to Cleveland. Yeah, we're not going to have we're not going to be a tourist destination, but the people that we do get to come here, whether it be for conventions or for visitation or whatever the case may be, let's get maximum bang for the buck. Again, maybe Jane Campbell's not the person to do it, but, lakefront development, I don't think it's such a bad idea. Doing something to entertain people while they're here. And I'll tell you, I probably should mask my voice for saying what I'm going to say next, but the biggest reason I don't think you're going to get people living downtown in the 200-plus type home environments, do you really want to be living 1 mile from ISG?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because I live in Tremont, and before I bought my home down there, I would go down and hang out in the bars down there. And there was someone that had a beautiful Saab convertible, and you'd go down on maybe a Monday night, and the car looked terrible. And you'd come back on, because the West Side Mo was still open. You'd come back on Friday night, the car looked beautiful. It was all washed and waxed. You come back Monday night, the car looked filthy again. And I had people tell me that they got asthma, or they believe they got breathing problems from living down there. If you had your windows open in the summertime when the West Side Mill was going, you'd get graphite dust on your furniture.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I never would have bought a house there if the West Side Mill had stayed open. I never would have bought a house there.
The steel mill to me is it's like a bad relationship. It's like, you keep trying to work at it and you get beat up and you go back and we've lost jobs and then we all jump in and get excited because some more mills are open and things are back and we're steel. The steel industry has been dying for 30 and 40 years now, and it's not coming back, despite what anybody says. And until we cut our ties, like an umbilical cord with the city, and move on, and there's going to be some growing pains, but you follow where I'm going. I mean, until we cut those ties and move forward, that's, to me, going to be the new renaissance of the city. And until we do that, until we stop getting excited about all the, the little victories, I mean, look at all the land there. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's just my opinion, I suppose.
What is it, something like 1,600 acres or something like that?
Right smack in downtown Cleveland. I mean, it's and I'm not saying it didn't have its place, and I don't mean any disrespect to folks who put their lives, into working there, but I just think it's time to retrain folks and move on and do something different. And I know it's going to be hard, but, a lot of cities are doing that exact thing, and they're moving on and making a commitment. But I'll never respect any of our leaders who continue to hold on to those things as if they're, coddling to the general opinion and telling people what they want to hear. Well, I want somebody to say, look, we need to cut ties, we need to move forward, let's be inventive and be different. And you don't see that happen anymore.
I think you're right. It is kind of like watching when you go and you rent a movie and you get about 3/4 of the way through it and you go, this is really a crappy movie. But you sit there and wait for the end because you invested so much time already. And
or better yet, a bad movie that you already know the outcome to.
Oh, somebody already spoiled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know Steel's not coming back.
Right.
It may limp along ever so slowly for a while.
But wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think that we were everyone was so excited when they bought the steel mill, as if great, things are back to normal again. Wasn't that wonderful? No, I don't think it's wonderful at all. I was thinking to myself, if this leaves, if this group leaves, we really now have to take a serious look at what we can do as a city. And it's just been put on the back shelf again.
Well, I wondered about, you familiar with Tremont?
Yes.
Okay, there's a row of brand new townhouses they built along University that overlooks the flats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they were, $386,000 each?
That's right.
And they kept putting up signs that said, only 2 units left. Now, only 1 unit left. And I was thinking, now, $386,000. I understand you got a beautiful view of the toothbrush lights at Jacobs Field. I understand that you got this nice view. You could buy a home in Bay Village that had knocked the socks off any of your friends and neighbors for that kind of money. And yet, are people actually buying those properties? Or it was rumored to me that they kept putting up signs saying only 1 unit left, but actually one company owns it and they're renting these units out.
Oh, I'm sure with creative marketing. I mean, I don't think living in downtown is such a bad thing, and I've lived in a lot of cities. I don't think Cleveland. I've never felt unsafe in our town, I guess, walking around. And I mean, you have to be smart wherever you go,
right?
In any town, but I just think that we're really missing the boat. I mean, I know we've talked a lot about a convention center and things like that, but we're not going to be attracting people here for our weather, and we're certainly not attracting. And it's, again, no slam against Cleveland. It's just like any other city in the north. What can we do to bring people here? Conventions are one way, and also maximizing the dollar, the bang for the buck for the people that do come here to visit family and friends.
Let me ask.
If you don't have anything to do except shop or go to the West Side Market, what else? You're really missing the boat.
The people that go to the West Side Market are people that are hungry for a grocery store in Tremont, and they can take the community circulator down there. I mean, nobody goes downtown specifically to shop anymore.
But you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, to me, it's, I mean, we've all had visitors in town. Where do you take, that's why I always like to ask people, where do you take people? Where do you take people to entertain them here?
Warehouse District or Tremont or the East Side?
Little Italy, maybe, as something unique. Or I mean, but as you point out, a casino or something, a lakefront development. Again, I know people laugh at that, but to me, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe there is something to that to bring people down and to enjoy the afternoon and spend money and eat and shop and do those things.
Yeah, if we're going to pipe dream with taxpayers' money, I would say lakefront development would be a good way to go about it because of all the risky developments that you could do. Redoing the west end of Lakewood by some developer to try and make it a shopping center. You know, we got these stupid, wrong-headed, small, Rust Belt mentality, Betty Babushka and her pickled egg attitude in this town.
That's right.
We keep ourselves down.
You have to rethink things. And again, like I said earlier, no disrespect to the folks who, built the city by hand, literally. But it's, you got to think past that. You got to think, as corny as it sounds, the next century. And, we're going to be the only city left who still thinks steel's the way to go if we don't change things in the next 20 years.
Well, Jane Campbell keeps saying the same broken record glued back together. There's biomedical and biotechnical. And do you think that's a viable way to go?
Well, you know what? Who knows? We haven't really done anything to invest in that. All I hear is about companies who haven't been able to get any commitment from the city of Cleveland. They get the song and dance routine when they move here, and then there's really no partnership when they get here. I forget, was it Adventus or is Adventus? Is that the one that was thinking of leaving and going down to the Research Triangle down in Charlotte?
Right.
They got no support from the city until the 11th hour when they said they wanted to leave. If you're going to commit, see, I'll tell you what, Rick, that's what goes back to my point. It's just sever time. If we ever get in a situation where that manufacturing base truly, again, like the ISG leaves, and we're really put in a corner, then and only then, it comes off the back shelf, it comes to the forefront, and they have to do something. Then you have to truly invest into a different industry.
All right.
But hey, thanks for talking to me.
Oh, thanks for calling, Joe. Hello? And maybe he should have masked his voice. I believe I know who that man is. You may as well. I don't know. I'm not telling. Jake.
What up, Rick?
Hey.
How you be?
Okay, how you be?
I be good.
I be going home in 8 minutes.
Cool. I be going home and, well, we'll not talk about that.
We get the Drudge Report coming up. But let me do the weather here while I got you. Triple Doppler forecast from TV3 meteorologist Betsy Kling. Tonight, cloudy, upper 20s.
Damn Betsy Kling. Where's Eileen McShay?
Oh, you mean because you wanted the music?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have Eileen another night. They have these rotations and all that.
I like to hear that. We'll have Irene another night.
Yep. Cloudy tomorrow with some rain or maybe some snow in the evening with upper 30s. Fat Tuesday, chance of snow, mid 30s, which will be good for, when they have to earn their beads. The women have to earn their beads. And so if it's a little cold out, that's a good thing. Currently 34 degrees in Cleveland, 34. Now, it says up here on the big board that you told me I can move to Pittsburgh anytime I want.
Yeah, it's the same thing, dude. And I understand.
I've been there. I mean, it's like Cleveland but different.
You're absolutely right. The people are nice. It's just sad that your previous callers, we have to change. Now, the problem is we have changed. We've shipped everything out of here. I used to live in Cincinnati when I was an accountant for Procter & Gamble. Oh, but they shipped my job to India. Then I moved to Schenectady and worked at a Maytag plant, and they shipped my job to Cambodia. I moved to Dallas and worked for J.C. Penney, did IT work there. Oh, they shipped my job to China.
See,
you know what? It's not Cleveland. It's not Pittsburgh. It's the United States of America. And if we don't take a stand, if we don't do something, we're all done. It's not just worrying about downtown Cleveland. Or we have the same argument in downtown Pittsburgh. We're all done. When are you people going to understand that?
I don't understand the theory of why we ship jobs out to India and China and then ship Chinese and Indian people here.
It's the perfect blending of government and corporation, just like Mr. Mussolini said before he had his ultimate demise. But it's exactly what it is.
Before they played upside down with him.
He looked good like that.
Oh, some people look good with their privates cut off.
Why is Atlanta, Georgia, well, down south they're doing stuff. Why is Atlanta, Georgia shutting down parks and shutting down their services? Because they ain't got no money, because the other jobs are leaving now. When, bing, the light got to come on sometime. Look like the old-timey, Ford license plate with the light bulb. No, it has to come on. We're all dying. And, Cleveland became Cleveland because of geography and topography. We got a nice lake there. Hey, let's build stuff here. We can ship it out. We can drive it out. Same thing with Pittsburgh, Three Rivers. Same thing, with every major city. Now that we don't do anything, what the hell does it matter if we got water? What the hell does it matter if we got a lakefront, a riverfront? Yeah, it's going to be nice, but once again, tourists ain't coming to Cleveland. They ain't coming to Pittsburgh. They're still going to go down there, so let's have our manufacturing here, and we'll just be, we'll be the lady you just berated with her pickled eggs or pierogies.
Betty Babushka with her pickled egg.
But we need her. That's what made us what we are. Cleveland's a good place. I, have visited there many times. The people are good, and I think it's what we had during the manufacturing era that made us like that. We went to work, we worked hard. Did it matter if we, cared about the Browns or, stuff then? No, because we did our other stuff and we had it. We went on vacation to Myrtle Beach or Florida.
That reminds me, while you bring it up, I need a lot of money, so if somebody out there's elderly and not feeling well and they've got a lot of cash, don't forget who entertained you in your twilight years and put me in your will.
Oh, you? I thought it was a disclaimer for me.
No. Okay. Maybe I'll share the wealth if they leave me enough cash. But I always like to throw that out every couple shows. Just, you never know, just in case.
Hey, if I had it, dude, I'd give you some.
Well, you'd have to.
You know what? Yeah, I lost my job at Procter & Gamble. So, it's a sad thing.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of jobs going away. And like you said, it's
it was high tech. Now it's the biotech and the medical industry. Hey, dude, you know what? Hey, give me a list of jobs. Say, make it easy. Give me a list of 2 jobs that I can go to school right now and get a degree for and be all ready to go, and tell me where I'm going to get a job.
Jake,
it ain't going to happen.
That's another topic for another show. But thanks for checking in.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Drudge Report coming up after top of the hour. We do a little business with you and coverage of what in the world's happening. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend who is not moving away from Cleveland. At least not anytime soon, unless I hit the lottery, and then I'll have a house here and a house down south, and then I'll invite you to visit, because I'll have $230 million and a pig's eye. Right. Okay. This is Cleveland's only news radio station, WTAM 1100.
The big one.
I know being a college freshman is supposed to be tough, but let me tell you about my schedule this semester. All 18 credits. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I have American Lit at 8:05 a.m. Then I only have 15 minutes to get to my 9:15 Ethics and Value Theory class, all the way across campus. Then in the afternoon, Calculus 1. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have 2 lectures that go through lunch. Sociology of Families, then Intro to Microbiology. Pre-med. And finally, I have a double lab that ends around 9 p.m. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you.
If a kid will do whatever it takes to get through college, what will you do to send her there? Please support the United Negro College Fund and call 1-800-332-UNCF, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. A public service brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This message provided by News Radio WTAM 1100.
Kim Mahalik here from the Trevisano Show, and if you've listened for any length of time, you know we just got a puppy, right? He's about 7 months old, and his name is Bugsy. He's a peekapoo, and he is just the living end, and he knows it too, from the way we treat him. He is royalty in our house, after all. So when it came to Purina One asking me to give their Purina One 30-day performance challenge a try, I gotta admit, I had to mull it over a little bit. You're not really supposed to change food midstream, especially in a puppy. I mean, he really is only 7 months old, and our last dog had some dietary problems, so I don't know. I had to think it over. But Purina One, the more that I'm reading about it, I gotta tell you, the ingredients are awesome. And the things that it tells me that it's going to do for Bugsy, I gotta tell you what, I really want to give him the best start in life possible. So I think I'm going to give it a shot. Purina One, the 30-day performance challenge. I'm going to let you know how it goes, good or bad. And I'll let you know all about Purina One.
Cleveland's only news radio. Your official weather station. The home of the Indians, Cavaliers, and Browns fans. This is the big one. Now, continuing coverage on News Radio, WTAM 1100, Cleveland.
The latest on the race for the White House, a new challenger. Good evening, I'm Cliff Bakley. This is the 10 o'clock report on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Details coming up. Channel 3 Triple Doppler weather. Here's meteorologist Betsy Kling.
Plenty of cloud cover still left over tonight, and that means temperatures will only head down into the upper 20s.
Currently 35 degrees at your official weather station, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Vote 2004. Our in-depth team coverage continues right now.
Ralph Nader says there isn't enough difference between the Democratic and Republican parties, so he's offering a third choice. Here's ABC's Andy Field.
Ralph Nader grabbed a tiny slice of the national vote last time, hoping he'll do better next fall, and tells NBC's Beat the Press he's running again because corporations have too much power in Washington.
They're saying no to health insurance for everyone, no to tax reform, no to health and safety standards.
Many Democrats blame Nader for Al Gore's loss last election. Nader hoping voters ignore both parties this time and elect him as an independent. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
John Edwards continued his weekend swing through Ohio, speaking this afternoon at a Teamsters Hall in Youngstown.
This democracy, this government, does not belong to that crowd of insiders in Washington and their lobbyists. Belongs to you, and we're going to restore the power in this democracy back to you, where it began, where it belongs. That's what this election and campaign is about.
Republicans insist they're not questioning John Kerry's patriotism. They're just questioning his voting record on national security. In a letter to Kerry, Bush campaign chairman Mark Rocio says it's a legitimate issue. Kerry had complained in a letter to President Bush after a GOP senator said that Kerry would have trouble defending his record in Georgia. There will be more than presidential politics on the ballot a week from Tuesday. Levon Putney reports Labor is backing issue 31 on the Cuyahoga County ballot.
Cleveland AFL-CIO union members will soon get mailings, maybe phone calls from fellow members asking to vote for the Jobs and Arts levy.
We have canvassers who will be going out to, we believe, about 800 households having meaningful conversations.
Local Executive Secretary John Ryan, whose union endorsed issue 31.
It will mean jobs for greater Clevelanders.
That's what this is all about for labor. Jobs, jobs, and more jobs.
Building Construction Trades Council Executive Secretary Lori Soggs, the 0.7 mil property tax hike would help retain and attract companies, restore brownfields, and boost the region's arts centers. Levon Putney, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger says President Bush can win his state in November if he comes up with some financial help. On NBC's Meet the Press, Schwarzenegger said he intends to collect more money.
I have only been in office now for not even 100 days. We cannot expect for me to get all the money that I intend to collect. I will be the collector, Nader.
Rebels in Haiti in control of the country's second biggest city. Now they're talking about the capital next. Their 2-week uprising has forced government troops out of most of the northern part of the country. 2 ships collided in the Mississippi River yesterday. 5 men remain missing after a supply boat sank. Now the river's entrance is closed, and that's keeping the grandeur of the seas from leaving its New Orleans dock. There are 2,600 passengers on board waiting to begin their vacation. Israeli troops have reportedly sealed off the town of Bethlehem in the aftermath of the latest suicide bomb attack. A bomber who blew himself up on a crowded bus in Jerusalem killed 8 and wounded about 60 others. Channel 3 Triple Doppler weather is next. 10:04 at News Radio, WTAM 1100.
2020 sports. They came to see LeBron and forgot about Z.
Into the lane, spins back to his left bank. Shot good off the glass. Ilgauskas is having a field day.
Z, 31 points, 15 rebounds. Cavaliers beat New York 92-86. LeBron James, 22 points. Carlos Boozer, 15 with 16 rebounds. Hornets come to town tomorrow night. Indians pitchers and catchers worked out for the first time in Winter Haven. Dolphins have a deal to trade for Eagles third-string QB A.J. Feely. David Kelly, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Wish I could watch some TV. If only my couch wasn't 43,000 feet away.
When you're in bed with the flu, the smallest distance can seem impossible.
If only the medicine cabinet wasn't way across the state line.
If only. If only you had the strength. You need Advil Flu and Body Ache. The power of Advil, so nothing works harder on body aches, headaches, and fever. Plus a hard-working decongestant. Makes having the flu a lot more comfortable.
Now, if only I had a plasma TV.
Fight the flu with Advil Flu and Body Ache. Use as directed.
And we're back with Randy and Cecile on their way to tell everyone about new Prilosec OTC.
Hi, Mom!
Oh, Randy, stop. Well, we'd just like to tell everyone that Prilosec OTC
starts working the very first day. That's 1 pill a day for 24 hours of
zero heartburn. It's possible with Prilosec OTC.
Randy, what are you doing?
I'm hip. I'm cool. I'm DJ Randy Man.
Oh, dear. Is this live?
Ow!
Use as directed for 14 days for frequent heartburn.
When severe winter weather strikes, stay informed with Operation Stormwatch. Instant school alerts and live triple Doppler radar. Your official weather station. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Channel 3 triple Doppler weather. Here's meteorologist Betsy Kling.
Temperatures overnight headed down into the upper 20s under mostly cloudy skies. We'll keep plenty of clouds in the forecast for Monday and add a chance of rain or snow as we head into Monday evening. Temperatures Monday afternoon topping out in the upper 30s. Tuesday, expect a chance of snow with highs in the mid-30s.
At your official weather station, cloudy skies and 35 degrees. I'm Cliff Bakley on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage in less than 30 minutes. Now, Drudge. This is News Radio, WTAM 1100.